All right, it's 9 o'clock. Hey guys, it's 9 o'clock, and just want to welcome you to the third episode of Berry Share. I'm Brandon Berry.
And I'm Nicole Berry, and we are so glad that you are joining in with us tonight. We would love if you would go ahead and share this on your page and just let people know that you're connecting with us tonight at 9 o'clock. That would be an awesome thing for you to be able to do so that you can have the people who are your friends to know the same information that you're getting tonight. So, you know, if we all know it together, we can do a lot better good with that.
That's
so
right.
We would love for you guys to just invite your friends to come watch this with us tonight.
So I don't know if you've checked out any of the other ones, and we apologize for the technical difficulty that we had last week. But hey, we're learning, and you know, and part of love is extending grace when things don't go perfectly.
That's true. We have to extend grace to ourselves.
That's right.
So, you know, that's the whole thing. I mean, those of you who know us know we don't do everything on point. We don't do much on point.
What do I do on point?
What do we do on point? But, you know, we're just going to share that. We're going to share the fact that we're going to mess up sometimes. We're not going to do this exactly right. And that's okay. Y'all aren't looking for perfection. You're just looking for authenticity. Mm-hmm. And that's what we really hope to deliver through these videos and through this time together.
So what are you going to get out of tonight? We want to kind of tell you what to expect so that you can want to stay on till the end. We're going to try to keep it till about 25 minutes and then just field questions the last 5 and keep it to an even 30. What we're thinking about discussing tonight, and we'll see how the flow goes, but is what we found out is that, you know what, conflict is universal. Mm-hmm. I know that there have been some moments even this week where, you know, sometimes it gets tight before it gets right.
Bless it.
You know, and sometimes I don't see eye to eye with this lady that I love. And conflict is just, it's inevitable. And we are trying, and I know there's scriptures about that. Consider it pure joy whenever you face trials of many kinds, for the testing of your faith develops perseverance. And you know what? Like, sometimes when you're in the middle of a conflict, that's the last thing you want to hear.
I don't want my perseverance to be tested.
Yeah.
Like, this is not the time.
That's right.
I want to win.
That's right. And sometimes we disagree. And it's not like either of us are competitive at all.
Not at all. We are not. We are the least competitive people you'll ever meet.
But what we want to show you tonight is that when you have a conflict, okay, when you have an argument, when you totally disagree, or when you get on each other's nerves, and your hearts do this right here. You were connected, you were in love, but all of a sudden you just fell out of love. Okay. And what's great,
not necessarily fell out of love, but you're just not connected.
Well, you ain't feeling the love.
You ain't feeling the love, yeah.
Okay, so when I say fell out of love, I mean, see, this right here means that we are in a covenant, and that it's not really about how we feel.
Right.
That we've made a promise, we've made a vow before the Lord, and that we're going to keep that vow.
Yeah.
And so even when we're not feeling the love, we have made a commitment to each other and to the Lord that in sickness and in health, for rich or for poor, we're going to love each other.
Yeah, even when I'm not feeling it.
Yeah.
I'm still going to love you.
Even when you're...
Because it's a choice.
Yeah, because it's a choice. Love is a choice. It's an action. It's a choice. Mm-hmm. And so what we want to do is when you feel disjointed, when you feel like you're apart, when you feel like you're in conflict, when you've been battling against one another or just life, or maybe your boss got on your nerves and you came home... Maybe you've had 4 kids going crazy at the grocery store, and you just aren't in the mood, and then you say something kind of snarky to your spouse. What do you do when you feel like this, and you know you need to get back to this, but you don't know how? Mm-hmm. That's what it's going to be about today on this episode of Berry Share.
Yep.
So
we're going to talk about a little bit about that. And first of all, how do we get like that? We're not going to get necessarily into conflict resolution and how to fix the conflict. We are actually talking about the step that you need to take before you go and resolve the conflict. And then in future episodes, we're going to talk in depth about how to resolve conflict in a godly manner, in a healthy way. But really, I was just thinking about how this was so life-changing. This information, when we learned this, when we got this, was so life-changing for our marriage, because I just remember, not even necessarily just that we had a fight or a conflict or anything specific, but it was just the craziness of the week. Sometimes you're just, has anyone ever felt that? Like you just kind of passing like two ships in the night, I think is the saying, where we just get super busy with life, and for whatever reason, we've kind of come like this because of the busyness of life. And then how do we get back to that? And so not only does it have to do with conflict, and with conflict, it could be not just a marriage relationship or a dating relationship or anything like that, but like my kids. Like I just yelled at my kids, and how do I get back to this heart-to-heart relationship, this intimacy, this intimate relationship that we're meant to have? So tonight we want to give you concrete steps on how to do that, and also, just kind of share a little bit of our experience about what we've actually had to go through, or what that looks like in our household. And maybe your household will be similar, maybe it'll be a little bit different, but hopefully you can take nuggets of that and be able to move forward with that. So,
and can I just say this, guys, you can learn how, if you can get the steps, I'm telling you, if you can figure out how to do and apply what we're about to give you, man, life can be good. I honestly, this is kind of weird, it may sound sadistic, but I actually kind of like it when we fight, because I know that we fight well. We're going to say some things, and I'm going to tell you, I just saw, Karen and Keith, I see that. I work mornings and he works nights. Enough said. Listen, why is that a conflict? It's because you care about your husband and you want to be with him.
Right.
And he cares about you and he wants to be with you, but he's probably tired and he needs to sleep when he wants to be with you, feels guilty that he wants to sleep, and it's just like, that's rough. But if you can actually open lines of communication, and I know there have been many times where it's just been a life circumstance, like what the Fosters are feeling, that it's in conflict. You actually have an opportunity to express in a deeper way than I think is possible in just everyday life, and you express. Because a lot of times conflict, you're actually revealing your heart and you're saying like, hey, I love you and you hurt me.
Yeah.
And so I'm actually giving you that power. I'm letting you realize you do have the power to hurt me. And I recognize I have the power to hurt you. And then we look at each other and we're like, well, I don't want to hurt you.
No.
And so at the end of the conflict, we actually have an opportunity to affirm our relationship, to restore our relationship.
To love each other and to show each other how we can love each other. So in a conflict, really what I'm trying to tell you is this is how you can love me better. And so I'm giving clues through that conflict to be able to do that in a healthy way, hopefully.
I've even heard it said in this way that anger proves love. You're not mad at something unless you really care about it.
That's true. That's good.
And if you think about it, if you ever struggle with anger, it's really because you love something and you love it deeply enough to care enough about it to get mad about it.
Yeah.
And so that's maybe just a sidebar thought. But let's dive in. Let's talk about when we're separated, whether it's with our spouse, with our kids. Let's first talk about what not to do. Okay. When you're separated, here's for all the legalists out there. Okay.
Yes. Bring it. Come on.
It's 11:30 at night. Okay. And I don't know. What's a conflict that we might have at 11:30 at night?
Okay, one could be that you decided that you're tired and you don't want to lock up the house or lock the cars, or
I never
put
do
the
that.
garage door down or
Yeah.
turn off all the lights. And I'm tired.
Yeah.
And we both got into bed, and
Yeah.
then you're just like, not doing it.
Yeah.
And so I have to get up.
And we have kind of agreed that that's kind of the dude responsibility, or at least we've decided that in our house.
In our
that,
house.
That I'll do it. I'll get up. But sometimes I'm dead to the world. And so Nicole sometimes will get in and be like, "Hey, did you lock the car?" And I'll just be like, because I grew up in the mountains, and you don't lock the car. You don't lock your house. And so I didn't grow up doing that. And so we had different cultures. And
Different
so
values.
different, you just didn't have to where I grew up. But Nicole grew up and obviously you need to lock your doors here in Charlotte, especially when you have little girls. And so I'm like, oh, okay. So sometimes I won't do that. We'll have a little,
Sometimes you won't say, oh, okay. You'll just lay there quietly and act like you didn't hear me. And so that's when I will get mad. That's where the conflict will come, because
Right.
I'll be like, this is your job. Like, get up and do it, you douche. And sorry, I mean, if y'all just want me to be real, that's what I'm thinking in my head.
Are we actually going to get on a conflict right now?
No, I'm not calling
Okay.
you a douche now. I'm just
Okay.
thinking that, at that point
Yeah.
in time, that's kind of what I'm thinking at that point. So,
Yeah.
anyway, this is just hypothetical.
So here's the thing. So at 11:30 at night, if she's like really mad at me, okay, and I'm like, oh man, and I go, let's say I say, okay, I'll do it, and I'm mad at her, and I'm slamming doors down here or whatever, and then I am on the way. I get this scripture verse that comes into my head that's like, don't go to bed angry,
Yeah.
and it's like, don't let the sun go down on your anger, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, hey, the sun went down before I got angry, but sometimes we think that means I can't go to sleep without fully reconciling everything that we've done, and that we might have hurt each other. And I remember
Work out in our house so good.
sometimes we have stayed up till 2 a.m, like, this is how I feel, and this is how what you did made me feel, and we listen to each other, but let me tell you what, if you're apart like this, and you start trying to have conflict resolution while you're still apart, then your words are going to be like lobbing grenades. And you're going to be wanting to stick the other person. Well, you didn't do this, and you're going to be so much more likely to blame, to use shame, to use guilt, to use condemnation.
Yeah.
It's just because you're hurt, and you're trying to protect yourself, and you're trying to get your way, and trying to get them to understand that your way and your point of view is so much more important.
Right. So in this example,
Yeah.
it's 11:30 at night. We're both exhausted. We've
Yeah.
both had a really long day.
Yeah.
We're angry at each other because of unmet expectations.
Yeah.
And so we've become like this.
Yeah.
And what happens though is that sometimes people think that they have to, like he said, get right back together before they go to sleep or figure all this out. What we've realized in our marriage, I don't know how many of you are like this, is that like I shut down. I mean, if it's 10 o'clock at night, even tonight at 10 o'clock at night, I will probably be in bed. Like I shut down.
So
And
what I do instead is we'll just come up, and I didn't mean to cut you off. Were you done with your thought?
I wasn't.
I probably need to put $1 in the interruption jar. By the way, how did your interruption challenge go? You only owe $1.
No, it was $3.
Oh, it was $3? Okay.
$3.
Sorry.
I've been really like trying to do better at not interrupting you because I want to honor you, but yeah, I do owe $3. So I'm gonna double that.
Okay.
And give it to. We're actually going to be giving it to our friends.
Shelvis and Nancy.
Yeah, who are
in
missionaries in South Sudan. So
Yeah.
we'll find a way to make that.
Speaking of peacemaking, they do peacemaking in South Sudan where there's all kinds of ethnic conflict, and so we just love them, believe in their ministry. So
Yeah. But anyway, can I finish what I was going to say?
yes, you absolutely
Okay.
can.
So what we've realized is that sometimes this right here is not going to get better, completely reconciled, when one of us is so low in energy levels, or sometimes you might be really, really low spiritually. What do you do in the meantime? That's really what we're going to be talking about tonight. Like before you've really reconciled completely and resolved your conflict, and how do you still show me, and how do I still show you that we love each other? And because at 11 o'clock at night or 11:30 at night, that is not the time to get me into any sort of deep conversation. It just isn't. I'm a morning person. If you want to get up at 6 and go for a walk, we'll talk about it all morning with the birds. But, he's not a morning person. And so he's doing a lot better than he used to be when we first got married. But we really had to work through this at the beginning of our marriage because you were such a night owl and I was such an early bird. And so it was really difficult to learn, like, when is the timing to get into conflict resolution and stuff. And we're going to get more into that at another time. Yeah. But how do you, in the meantime, so in our scenario, if you're just joining us, we're just coming up with a scenario that we both got into bed exhausted, and all of a sudden I say to him, have you locked the doors, locked the cars, closed the garage door, done the rounds downstairs? And he doesn't respond. And so I get upset because he's pretending to be asleep or whatever. And so this brings us to this conflict. That's just our hypothetical situation. It's only happened 70 or 80 times in our marriage. No big deal. But anyway, just, hypothetically, how do you, before you really have a chance to like talk this over and work this out and go through how you make me feel when you don't fill in my need for security and all that, how do we connect with each other, get back to a connection that says, I still love you, I'm in this, I love you. We'll work this out.
I think what we really need to do and is we need to be well versed in all 5, I would argue that there's actually 6 love languages that exist. And so if you've never read or heard anything about Gary Chapman's The 5 Love Languages, we want to equip you with these tools in your toolbox so that you can have healthy relationships. And so first there's the love language of gifts. And so that's pretty obvious. We love people, and so we give gifts. And so for birthdays, for whatever, Valentine's Day, whenever, just randomly you give gifts, and that's a big deal. And for some people, that's their number 1 love language. What's love language number 2?
Yeah, well, I was just going to say back to gifts, like a person whose primary love language of gifts, they love notes. It doesn't matter what the gift is. It doesn't have to be expensive. It doesn't have to be elaborate. It just has to be something that tells that person, hey, I was thinking about you, and here's just a little token of something that I was thinking about you. And
it's proof that the person was thinking about the other person while they weren't together.
Right.
And so it actually, I actually heard that that's what romance is. Romance is me proving to you that I was thinking about you when I wasn't with you.
Yeah.
And so a gift is a really way to do. A well-planned date is a gift that you're given. A surprise is a gift that you're given to whoever you love, whether it's your child or even a friend.
Yeah. With kids too, who have the love language of gifts, a little Cersei in your lunchbox, maybe a handwritten note, just something to just let them know, like, hey, I'm thinking about you and I love you. And we have 4 kids, and all of them love gifts, but I'm not really sure if any of them have like the primary love language of gifts. But
I don't think so, and neither do we. But let's just cover the other 4, and then we'll go back to them and we'll unpack them all. Okay. Yeah. So number 2 is my favorite. I say it's my favorite, but I probably have one that I actually value more than this. But this one's definitely high on my list, and that's physical touch.
Yeah.
And so I think all the men out there, give me a little.
Whoop, whoop.
There you go. And there you go. Come on. Okay, that's enough. Yeah. This is for you. I'm expressing my love. Stop. I'm expressing my love for her by dressing like this, by getting this haircut. So I don't know what language that is, but is that a gift?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll talk about it.
All right. So there's gifts. There's physical touch. There's quality time. there's words of affirmation, and then there's acts of service.
Yeah.
And I happen to argue that food is probably number 6.
Number 6 is food.
That's right.
I mean, I love number 6.
I do too. I do too. I think number 6, it's both quality time at the table. It's an act of service. It's a gift. It's
all good.
That's right. I mean, the way to a man's heart is through his stomach.
I think the way to my heart is through my stomach.
Hey, it's okay. It's okay to love food.
And my thunder thighs say that too. But it's all good. Well, hey, okay. So we've just talked about gifts. Touch. Touch is something now. Obviously, touch in a marital relationship, and just intercourse. That is not all that physical touch is. Really, physical touch. Someone who has a primary language of love language of physical touch wants to be touched, just wants to have a connection point. And so Brandon has a really high touch. I would say I have a really high touch. Mm-hmm. I would probably say it's my number 2. And so for us, it looks like, we're sitting on the couch. We're not sitting on opposite ends of the couch. We are, even now, I mean, we're not doing this just because it's in a small box here. We just love to touch each other. I love to put my hand on your leg. I love to squeeze your shoulders sometimes. I love it when you come and give me a butt slap in the kitchen.
Butt slaps are nice.
Butt slaps are great. A kiss, a hug. When they're kids, fist bumps, high fives, hugs, pecks on the cheek, kisses, as much kisses as they'll give you, moms and daddies.
Yeah. Get it while you can.
Get it while you can.
We do hugs, kisses, and rabbit kisses every night.
Snuggles. That is something that someone who has a need or that love language of touch just wants to have a physical contact. And so, I love to play with their hair. I love to just touch an ear. As much as we can, we are touching. And what are we doing again with these love languages is that we are trying to bring the connection back, because once we've gotten into a conflict and we had that connection apart, resolving conflict is not going to happen while we're apart. So first we have to bring that connection back. So we're going to utilize the tools of the 5 love languages to bring that connection back to your relationship to be able to pave the way for you to be able to resolve that conflict. Right. So we've got gifts, we've got physical touch, we've got quality time.
That's right. So quality time is that's probably not one that you want to exercise at 11:30 at night. You just,
unless you're both night owls.
Yeah, unless you're both night owls. But I really have a passion for peacemaking, and we actually want to get into this. I don't know if this will be our next episode, but it'll be in one of the next ones. But there's a difference between peacemaking, peace faking, and peace breaking, and there are steps that are, this is like my soapbox, and so there are steps to go there, and so I'm all about reconciliation, negotiation, like us getting to where we are in unity. And so I have such a passion for that, then I'll want to have that now. But like we said earlier, midnight's not necessarily the best time, and so that's where I have to go read 1 Corinthians 13 that says love is patient. And if she's not ready to have this conversation, then I need to be willing to have peace while I wait. That's the definition of patience. To have peace, to be whole while I wait. And to be kind. And so sometimes I'll just exercise kindness. I come up the stairs, I'll say, sorry babe, I love you. Can we talk about this in the morning? And a lot of times that's it. And we're both snoring in 5 minutes. But I'll say this, just you can use, and this is something to be thinking about, which one of these love languages is your primary? Husbands, you need to know which one is your wife's primary love language, because we have a tendency to try to speak and convey love the way that we receive love.
Right.
And so quality time is the next one that we're talking about, but some people just, let's say your love language is gifts, but your spouse's is quality time. You might want to reconcile with them, and so you bring home a dozen roses.
Right.
And then you leave again, and you go get another gift, and you bring it home, and they're sitting here ticked off. They've already stomped your roses in the ground because they just want to spend time with you.
Right.
And that's where the scripture that says, dwell with your spouse with wisdom, with knowledge, with understanding. You need to know.
Yeah.
You need to know what is the love language of the people that are around you. So quality time is that's pretty self-explanatory.
Well, I would say this about, although it's self-explanatory, let me explain. I would say this because I used to be quality time. Quality time used to be my number one, and that was before I had kids. Okay. I loved your full attention. And so if I was with you or with anyone else, I would love and just a full attention, phone down. A lot of what we were talking about last week about active listening. I loved to actively listen to other people. I loved it when they listened to me. I loved being able to look into somebody's eyes and really whether it was getting into scripture together or praying together or just laughing and being together or just doing something where we were not necessarily in a huge group. It was either a small group or just a one-on-one. That quality time was super, super important to me. And some of you have children whose love language is quality time, and you're working 60 hours a week. And this is where we see a lot of trouble coming up in the youth, is that they want their parents to spend time with them. Yeah, and they are getting the newest J's on their feet, and they are getting the upgraded iPhone every September, and they are getting everything gifts wise, but all they really want is time. Yeah. And so parents, if you've got a kid, you need to find out what your kid's love language is. And you can go on to Dr. Chapman's, I think, the 5 love languages. Just Google the 5 love languages. There's tests on there that you can take to find out what yours or what even one of your kids is, so that you could know. But if your kid has a quality time love language and you're trying to appease that with one of the others, just know that person's love tank's not getting filled, and you're going to start to see some serious discipline issues coming out of that, and you're going to look back and say, what did I do wrong? And not that it's all your fault, but we can really cut it off at the chase if we figure out what our kids are, what their love languages are, and really seek to love them in the way that they want to be loved, not the way that we receive love. We always try to, like you said, give love in the way that we prefer to receive it. But it's actually a little bit like going to a foreign country and trying to speak English. We have some friends who are in China right now. They just adopted their son Ben from China, the Baxters, and I've been following them on Instagram and following them on Facebook and just watching their journey for a long time now. But I was just thinking about them today, because I was like, what if they went to China and they were just speaking English to a random person, a Chinese person who only speaks Mandarin, and then they start getting upset. Not that they would actually do this, because they have pretty good cross-cultural EQ there, but just as an example, if Rachel and Dave went to China and were talking to a Chinese person in English, and that person wasn't understanding what they were trying to say, and they were like, where is the bathroom? Where's the bathroom? I need a bathroom. Where's the bathroom? But if he doesn't understand it, then it gets lost in translation. What they'd have to do is actually learn the Mandarin phrase for where's the bathroom, and as soon as they say that, then they have a connection with that person. And so I was actually watching how they were singing. They got the baby. They're holding the baby. The baby was crying because he's just been taken from everything that he's known. And he's crying, and she's singing to him, Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star, in English. And then she flips it, and she starts singing to him in Mandarin. She actually took the time to learn the language that he knows, to be able to speak it, and it helped to bring a peace and a calm to him. And so I just was thinking about that today as I was reading it. I've been kind of Facebook stalking them the whole time that they've been in China, but what if we were to learn the other person's language and just to speak that, what peace would come to our relationship, with joy, what security would come to our relationship. It's just a quick example of how we need to do that. So we got gifts, we got physical touch, quality time.
Well, speaking of quality time, I have so enjoyed listening to you, but our time is up.
We're gonna keep going.
We're gonna keep going.
Yeah.
Okay. The last two are actually, this is a good example because we want to finish this out. It's words of affirmation and then acts of service. And we kind of saved these two for last because words of affirmation is actually my number one love language. And acts of service is Nicole's number one love language. And so if I want to show her that I love her, it's going to be through probably doing something around the house. It's through serving her in some way. It's through me like noticing that she's just kind of up to here with watching kids and just saying, babe, I got these kids, like just disappear for an hour. And she's just like, hallelujah. And
Amen.
She feels love that way.
Yes, absolutely. And it's funny because I was saying how before I had kids, mine was quality time. And I would say that your primary love language really can change according to the season that you're in. When I became a stay-at-home mom with 4 young kids and, a homeowner where we had a lot more responsibility than I did when I was just renting an apartment with another roommate, the acts of service thing just really just kind of shot up in my life. It was like I started recognizing the twist in that, the shift really of like, I love to spend quality time with you, but that's so unrealistic at this point in my life that I can't have quality time with you if my house is a complete disaster area. I can't have quality time with you if my baby needs to be changed. And so you can have it change at some point in your life, just depending on your season. For Brandon, words of affirmation is huge. For me to just say, babe, I'm proud of you. Like, it just does something to him every single time. And the words that we speak, in Proverbs it says that our words carry life or they carry death. And so the words that I choose to say to Brandon are going to either build him up and bring life to him, or they are going to tear him down and really kill his spirit, kill his joy, kill him in many ways. And so for me, I have to really and truly think, because for me, like if someone were like, oh, you're so beautiful, or you're so good at that, compliments do not get me one way or the other. Like I just kind of throw them off. It doesn't really affect me. Compliments don't, I mean, not that I don't like compliments, they're okay, thank you for those who complimented me, but it's not like a huge thing for me. But if someone compliments him, he takes it to heart. And for me, who sees this guy and who sees all the great things that he does, it's easy to take it for granted. And so I have to consciously say to myself, you need to remind him of how much you love him, or how good looking he looks in that shirt, or how proud you are of how hard he works. Thank you for being such a great provider. Thank you for teaching our kids the ways of the Lord and just being consistent in that. You're a great dad, just to say those things. He's getting a little teary-eyed. I don't know if you can see the glossiness in his eyes right now even, but he loves it. So we're just choosing to speak the language of the object of our affection.
So at the end of the day, what we were talking about is, obviously we love the people that we love. And when we lose that heart-to-heart connection with them, we want to use the 5 love languages to regain that heart-to-heart connection with them. Now, once you regain that, there's still some stuff under the rug sometimes that has to do with conflict, and so we want to definitely talk about that in another episode. And so at this point, we're gonna pause and just ask if there are any specific questions about this particular topic, about the love languages, and about putting that love back on as the initial step when you're going to come back together. So I see there is a lot of chatter on the comments, and so we're gonna see if we can check it out. If anybody wants to type a question, we are going to be fielding them right now. So see what we've got.
Karen says, yes, please wash those dishes. Hallelujah. Yep, your language can change.
I saw Janine was talking about her daughter. It was definitely a quality time child. What's up, Sarah Syack?
What's up, Sarah? Tell them where to go take the love language quiz online. Okay, so you can go to, I think it's called 5lovelanguages.com.
So the number 5 and then lovelanguagesspelledout.com.
Mm-hmm. And you can take your test right there, and it's free. So that would be a good place to go to do that.
Thanks, Sarah, for that suggestion.
Sherry asks, can we say the 5 love languages again? Yes, they are gifts, physical touch, quality time, words of affirmation, and acts of service. And then we add food in there too. It's not Gary Chapman. It's just Brandon and Nicole think that. No. Food. Really, I mean, if you wanted to put food in there, you would probably, and put it into one of the 5, you'd probably put it into acts of service or quality time if you're cooking it together. Gifts.
Look, John Beasley just put
and he put the thing on
the
there.
link on there.
Thank you, John.
Appreciate that.
Okay. We can have more than one, right? Yes, you can have more than one. You usually have one that's like primary, and then maybe like a secondary one. Sometimes some people even have like 3.
Right.
But yeah, you can have more than one, and they can be pretty equal too. Yes. So thank you, John. John, we're going to be hooking you up with some of these love language, especially number 6, very soon. So I just went grocery shopping. We're going to hook you and the wifey and the baby up with some good food this weekend. So I'm pretty pumped. Anybody else? All right. Well, if you guys have any more questions, feel free to comment on that on the same video. This will be on our timeline. We will be able to get back to you on that still. We check that pretty often. But really the whole point again of communication is to have that intimate relationship with each other. Last week we talked about how active listening, how listening to each other can keep you in that relationship. And today we talked about how when you break apart through maybe a conflict or just busyness, how to reestablish that connection towards intimacy so that you can either get to a healthy place to resolve conflict or just be able to kind of reevaluate your priorities so that you don't have crazy busy weeks every week. Next week we're going to probably talk more about peacemaking and start into a conflict resolution series. So we are so excited about that. You guys have been awesome. We just want to say thank you for all your support, your well wishes, your prayers. We've just certainly enjoyed these last few weeks and think that it's been a great experience. Any last thoughts?
Yeah, just we want you to know that we care about you and that we're excited about how hopefully there was a few nuggets from this that will help enrich your life, that will help inspire passion so that you can live from the inside out. And that's really what this is all about. Berry Share, inspiring passion for your priorities. We want you to live the life that God has for you. And He has designed it, and He has kingdom principles that if we will pick up those keys, then it will unlock so much joy, so much of the abundant life that Jesus came to give us. And so we just bless you guys. Thank you for tuning in, and we're grateful that you are in our lives. Thank you for sharing with us, and thank you for letting us to share with you. Y'all take care. Have a great week.
Good night.